Coming up on this episode of The Village Idiom.
Man, it's like you used to take your bike off of any ramp. Now what would you do? You'd think
drive
and send your kids.
I'd drive there.
I'd drive there.
Dum dum da da, Village Idiom.
Hello, bienvenidos a Village Idiomos.
We are a podcast that every week chooses a popular saying to take a shallow but hopefully comedic and once in a while even interesting dive into its meaning, its usage, and its origins. But we're also here to use that idiom or saying to hang or otherwise directionless conversation on why did you break into Spanish right out of the top.
I don't know.
My name is Jurassic Mark.
I am skinny, Senor Skinny. I don't know what's happening.
All right, hang on.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
You're the most perfect man I've ever known. What do you say we heat things up?
My passion, thoughts for my bride alone.
Ooh, that is a little...
Talk about your cold shoulder.
There it is.
That's a little Poison Ivy and Dr. Freeze.
That's exactly
From
right.
Batman Returns?
Batman and Robin, actually.
Batman and Robin, okay.
With the best Batman of them all.
The George Clooney?
I'm Batman.
His head's on his... Oh, it's like a weeble wobble.
He's a living bobblehead, that guy. I'm George Clooney. Yeah, that's...
that's a good-looking man.
Well, yeah, we can't...
But he was beside Uma in that one, right? Poison Ivy is Uma.
No, that was... oh, yes, you're correct.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, sorry. Mr. Freeze.
Don't be like that.
Mr. Freeze. And that led up right to the final line, which is our idiom for today, which is to give someone the cold shoulder.
Giving someone the cold shoulder. I've witnessed it. I've enjoyed it. I've received it.
Have you?
Cold shoulder?
Yeah.
Well,
how have you given it?
Okay, well, so with comedic intent.
Yeah, okay.
But you can never control the way something lands.
Correct.
It's like we're having a talk and you're like, oh, hey, I'm so-and-so. That's good.
Turned around and walked away.
And so I don't know what it is about that sort of stuff. My best viewing of one was I was with my son at this function where, well, the whole intent was for to meet people, particularly for our young adult people, to meet other young adult people for the first time. So it wasn't like the singles mixer and I was chaperoning kind of thing,
right,
but that scenario. And for whatever reason at the time, he was hot and heavy on this device called the melodica, which is like a little keyboard.
I know exactly what it is.
The little keyboard with the blowy tube into it. So that, and so he was into it. He whips it out of his jacket pocket, whips out a melodica.
Of course he does.
Of course he does. It's like, that's going to grab the ladies. and so he says, the person who pays attention to this is the one for me. And so he starts in playing Careless Whisper. True story. And lo and behold, like the Pied Piper, a girl comes out of the mob and goes, that is so interesting. What is that? It's like, oh, that's the melodica.
Turns his back
on her. Totally turns his back on her. I'm like, you said that she was good, and then he just
didn't know what to do. Didn't think it would work.
Yeah. It's like the Pied Piper playing, the rats come, and then it turns out you're afraid of rats. Oh, I loved it. It's so good. It's a classic. I love that kid. He does the funniest joke.
I've done the cold shoulder unintentionally where you look back and you're like, I think I just ignored a handshake that was put out to me. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, oh, wow, I'm so sorry. Yeah, but...
Well, there's other times when you're like meeting in a group scenario and someone like clearly... the conversation is intended for you and this other person. And so you feel like if you're interjecting, you're like the weird, like, hey, don't forget me.
Yeah.
And then you're
unless it is you, because you'll step between the people.
I would.
Yeah.
So
I've seen that, I don't know how many times, two people talking and you step between them. So they lose their line of sight.
Because I think it's hilarious.
It is hilarious.
And I will
What's
do
even funnier is when they don't clue in. And they're just kind of looking around you, and the conversation keeps going.
Some people can't hack that. They just either know you're joking or just the worst jerk. I've gotten burned by doing stupid things and saying stupid things, but sometimes when it lands, Awesome.
Right. Well, I don't want to give cold shoulder. We have a live in the studio audience member today.
Awesome.
We've talked about her before. My daughter Laylan is in the room. Laylan, just yell out a woohoo!
Woohoo!
That wasn't very enthusiastic, but I don't want to give her the cold shoulder. It's the first time we've had an audience member just sit and watch us.
Do you want to come say hello for 1 second?
Want to come over? Yeah,
come
she's
say
coming
hello.
over.
Come on over.
We're not going to give you the cold shoulder. Come and say
line of sight here.
say hi to everyone on there. Right in there. Say hello, everyone.
Hello.
Everyone. What's your name?
Layla Batten.
And what grade are you going into this year?
Grade 7.
Woohoo! Excited
so
to go back to school?
awesome.
Yeah.
Not really. It'll be good to see your friends,
Well,
right?
what are you gonna do, right?
All right, go back to your seat. Thanks for coming today.
Awesome. Good to see you. Glad you could jump in like that. Didn't want to give you the cold shoulder.
No, absolutely not. Well, in case you didn't pick up on our examples, the definition of to give someone the cold shoulder is literally to be unfriendly to someone or ignore them deliberately.
Deliberate ignoring.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's so contrary to like my makeup.
There's some people that I know that I in my life regularly who they don't give me the cold shoulder, but they do ignore deliberately. And by that, I mean they talk over top of you. And not just...
I know exactly what you're saying right now.
But no, not like we do.
That kind of thing like that. Yeah,
we just keep going.
No, I
they
totally
don't
know exactly
pause.
what you're talking about.
I can't do it.
Because I just keep going.
I can't even pretend right now. This is work for me. They'll talk, and I've had to deliberately like take the phone away from my ear and keep talking just to see if I can out-talk them, and they're still talking when I put it back to my ear. I'm like, how do they... I had a call just this week. I'll change names.
Perfect.
But she was on the phone, and I'm literally going, Carol. And she's just talking away. And then she pauses. I'm like, can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you fine. I'm like, I was literally just calling your name, trying to tell you that we've already corrected this situation. She was talking about an issue. And she's like, oh, I didn't hear anything. And I believe her. I don't think it's a phone thing. I think there's another person. We have a mutual friend. I'll not even give an example. We have a mutual friend who I'm like, I can't believe that she'll just talk right over me, and I don't. There's no ill will at all.
No,
it's just
funny.
Yeah, so interesting.
They can't hear it themselves.
I definitely interrupt people. I know I do, but I can't do that.
The finishing people's sentences is a fun one.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, that's a good one. That really crawls under people's skin.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to pause so I could just do it. But
I made sure to have
we
enough
did a little
pace.
tag team.
Yes,
just this week, I think. Right?
Yeah,
with somebody who was like, "Quit finishing my." Hey, do you think we have similar voices?
No,
because there's a couple times where I listen back on something and I'm like, who was that? Was that me or him? And I'm like, our voice is that similar?
A little doppelganger.
I don't know.
Doppelganger.
Oh no, that's not a good one.
I don't think we sound the same at all.
Yeah, I don't know,
but whatever.
Anyway, all right. So to give someone the cold shoulder is today's dilly dill.
I don't think we talk the same at all.
Okay, that's fine. I was just wondering.
I was trying to take it into a bit of a different direction with things. There's the cold shoulder, and then there's shivers down your spine.
Okay.
And so, is that even an idiom? Things that put shivers down your spine, or are shivers actually going down your spine?
Well, I know my spine has had shivers. That's tricky because it's not literal shivers going down your spine, but it feels like it. So maybe that's not an idiom. Maybe that's just what it feels
Factual.
like. Yeah.
Well, because I have
like makes your skin crawl. I guess that would be an idiom because your skin's not crawling.
And to give someone the cold shoulder, it's your shoulder isn't exactly cold.
Is it that you turn? I mean, we're going to find out in a minute when we get into origins, but turn and so...
Well, I was thinking shivers down the spine because of this in particular. Things that like draw out weird feelings.
Okay.
That makes my skin crawl. That's
shivers down
my spine. That gave me the cold shoulder. It's all the feels.
Yeah.
And so this week and a bit back, came off this epic camping trip where we were trapping crayfish.
Yeah, this was great.
And so it was searching for things to do in this particular area and popped up trapping crayfish. And so it was going to be like, I've never done that before. And so another aspect of me is I'm just particularly don't like things that move weird. Spiders and snakes.
Right.
And
That is weird.
Yeah, things that move like
lobster-like.
not right. Yeah, and so basically a crayfish is like this midgety version of a lobster.
Yeah.
And they taste like lobster, except you find them in like rivers and lakes, but they're amazing and easy to, like, you can hand catch them.
You just boil them?
Yeah, with we boiled them up with like some Cajun spice and all the rest of it. But the part where I was getting to on the weirds, shivers down my spine, giving me the heebie-jeebies, is when you're holding, so you get into the trap and you pull it out, and it's just kind of like
flailing,
fighting, and it's got like 8 kind of legs and its pincers and its tail. It's like a reverse scorpion. It's like its tail goes underneath.
Yeah,
and it's just kind of like tail thrusting and going back, and that just I can't do it. And so I use tongs. Because I just can't touch them because they're like resisting me killing them.
Totally.
Oh, just talking about it makes me give me the heebie-jeebies.
That's funny. I don't know how I don't enjoy. I'm thinking like growing up, flipping rocks at the beach and watching all the crabs scurry everywhere. And back then, I mean, there's a different level. There's a different fear factor when you're a kid, like the reverse of what you'd think. Like little kids are scared of everything. But back then, we would just grab them. Sometimes you got pinched, sometimes you didn't. Whatever. You knew how to pick up the crabs. We were at the beach just last week and showing my daughter Leyland, who was just on the microphone here, showing her that there's crabs under here, and I couldn't bring myself to pick it up. I'm like, yeah, I'm not touching that.
That's where I'm at. Maybe it's a phase of life that we're in.
It's like you used to take your bike off of any ramp. Now what would you do? You'd think
drive
and send your kids.
I'd drive there.
I'd drive there.
So the good Lord gave me 2 good legs to work the pedals. Anyway, we're talking about the feels that go along with some of these idioms, and the cold shoulder is like it feels like crap.
Okay, so here's my story. Speaking of cold shoulder,
all right,
because who has a cold shoulder?
Snowman.
Dead people.
Yeah.
Was half napping last week, and my 21-year-old son and his girlfriend come in and goes, "Hey, Dad." I'm like, yeah. Eyes are closed on the couch at the TV. "Dad, some kids outside just said, they said, hey, really like your Jeep. I've got Jurassic Park logos on the side of the Jeep." And I'm like, okay. And then they said, they just found a dead body in the woods. I'm like, that woke me up. I'm like, okay, what? He goes, yeah, so we walked over there and, well, it looks like there's a dead body in the woods. And so
we have a
bit of a green belt behind our place, and
is this like Stand By Me right now?
Yeah. So I'm like, "Are you messing with me?" "No." Do you want to come?" I'm like, "Yep." So we walked. It's kind of a half a block away, and
my immediate reaction, even as you said it, is to pull out my cell phone.
Right. I know. I didn't
pull out, double power, boom. I'm like, this is being documented.
So I get to the end of there's kind of a dead end cul-de-sac kind of situation, and they're like, it's right back there, and so I just look in the trail. It's not even a trail. Like, it shouldn't be a trail, right? It's not it's not a trail. And I look in, and there's a body, like clear as day. That is a human laying there. I've been saving this to tell you. I've seen you a couple times, not told you this story.
How have you not told me about this?
That'd be better for a real reaction.
Wow.
Being recorded. So my daughter was following along. I said, Trace, you got to keep her back.
Right. You're like,
so I go into the woods. So the kid, where I saw him is as far as the kids would go. And good, right? And so my son's girlfriend's standing there, and I start walking in, and I realize nobody's coming in with me. Mm-hmm. So I walk right up, and there's this guy. He's gaunt and eyes kind of sunken in, and I'm now standing over him, and I'm like, I really wish I could just see his chest moving. But he's in a not natural position. Like, his arms are kind of spread eagle, but one leg is twisted under the other in like an L shape. And he does have what I'm assuming is drug paraphernalia around him.
It sounds like a crazy drug situation.
And so I'm standing there, I'm just thinking, So I just go, I kind of kick the ground, like, not him, kind of kick the ground and make some noise. And then I just go, hey, buddy.
Buddy.
Nothing. Like, hey, buddy. Deep breath, his eyes shoot open, he's staring at me. What? I'm like, you okay? And he's looking around, he's like, yeah. What do you mean, am I okay? I'm like, well, you're laying in the dirt in the woods. What? Sits up and looks around. What? And I'm like, yeah, just checking if you're okay. Some kids said they thought they saw a dead guy on the ground. You're obviously not dead. Are you okay? And he starts kind of looking at grabbing his things, and he looks around, and he's like, I think he saw, he knew what had happened. He had
OD,
whatever, minor OD, potentially, not fatal. He was quite with it when he sat up. And he goes, oh, kind of scoops his stuff towards him, so like as if I didn't already see it. He's like, yeah, no.
These aren't mine.
No, he's like, no, I'm fine. You know what, man? Thanks for checking on me. Just really appreciate that. I'm like, okay, so you're good. Yeah, no, I'll get moving along. Don't worry about me. I'm okay. I'm like, okay. Off he goes.
That's crazy, man.
So almost a cold shoulder. It looked like a cold shoulder. His
That's
eyes
crazy.
were like, yeah, he had all what you would expect it to look like.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're just like waiting for
I was
him to
just-
turn over
I
and
was
do
just-
la, 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 la.
Part of me
The
is
Walking Dead.
incredibly thankful that he's fine. I mean, not fine. He's obviously got a rough life going on.
Yeah. But he's not dead in the moment.
But he's not dead. And then part of me going, but the story would have been better if.
Oh, that's dark. You know what would have made this story better?
If he was.
dead.
Anyway,
I'm glad
yeah.
he's alive. I was on the edge of my seat.
Right? Yeah. It was surprisingly easy to go in there. And then afterwards, I said to my son's girlfriend, I'm avoiding names just in case. I said, you didn't film any of that? It was after the fact that I had the cell phone thought. She goes, oh, I had 911 dialed in. I was ready to press send if you looked back and said anything. I'm like, oh, I suppose that's more responsible. That's funny. The girl I'm talking about is phoning me right now.
Crazy.
And they're away. I feel like I should answer this.
All right, I'll take it for a bit.
Oh, I missed it.
All right, I won't take it for
see
a
if
bit.
she calls back.
Hey, so did you hear about the
That's all right.
did you
Let's get into it.
Did you hear about the cannibal that was late for dinner?
Yeah.
He had some cold shoulder.
All right, here we go.
I said some words. Where'd they go? Where'd they go? No one can know. I turned around and looked behind. Those words came from another mind. Origins.
All right, well, let's get into it.
We got some dirty.
We got the nerd.
We got some nerdy.
All right, this idiom originated in the early 1800s, and it is said that it is said that welcome visitors to a house were served a hot meal, but someone who was not welcome was given a cold shoulder of whatever meat, usually mutton, that was being eaten.
There ain't nothing like mutton.
There ain't nothing like mutton.
Now, stop you right there.
All right.
What are your feelings on leftovers?
What do you mean? I love leftovers.
Exactly.
So,
If I'm offering you cold shoulder as leftovers because you were late or you whatever.
yeah, it's about that it's not being heated for you. The shoulder is not, I don't know. I was going to say the shoulder is not the most appetizing part of the meal, or is it?
No, like pulled pork often comes from shoulder.
I don't know.
Everybody knows that.
Sorry.
And so
The shoulder was
The idea-
known to be the coldest and toughest part of the animal, and a much inferior meal.
you crock pot that, you Instapot it, you low and slow
This
the
is the
shoulder.
1800s.
They had low and slow in the 1800s. Believe me, if any time in history had low and slow, it was the 1800s.
All right.
Yeah. So, but I love leftovers. So if you're like, oh, all I have is left this cold shoulder, I'm like, this is fantastic. Thank you. You're feeding me. I'm in.
You're still eating.
Yeah, cold pizza, cold whatever. Just flick off the congealed fat bits, and you're in there.
Well, you'll be happy to know then that that's probably not where this originated from.
Oh man, I would have bought that one again.
The first recorded use of the expression was in 1816 by Sir Walter Scott in the Scots language in the Antiquary. This expression is this is interesting. Listen to this. I didn't even change the words. This is not in my own language. This is because it was so interesting to me. This expression is a mistranslation of the Latin phrase "Dederunt humorum residentem" from the book of Nehemiah 9:29 from the Vulgate Bible, which I also looked up that because I couldn't remember.
It's the Latin?
Yeah, the Latin. Catholicism tried to make that the Bible, which actually means stubbornly they turned their backs on you, which comes from the Septuagint Bible's Greek equivalent. Sadly, it's still in Greek on my notes here. But the Latin word humerus, which is often misspelled humorous, means both shoulder and back. So in his quote, it says, "Ye may mind that the Countess's dislike did na gang farther at first than just shewing of the cold shoulder."
Do we have a Pentecostal in the house who can give interpretation?
C-A-U-L-D, shouther, S-H-O-U-T-H-E-R, which is Old English for cold shoulder. So that's 1816, where it's supposedly a nod to this scripture of them turning their backs on them, turning their shoulders. It was mistranslation, turning their shoulders. So it's further supported well, let's skip that part. It neither references food or hosting people, but it's presented in this completely different way. And the phrase also appears in one of Scott's later works, St. Ronan's well, and after the 1820s. So he seems to be the instigator of this phrase. You would think, because this quote is, "Eminent individuals and his cabinet advisors turned the cold shoulder," now modern English, "to their ambassadors," same author, "for his independent act upon this occasion." So despite being repeated in several non-academic books of etymology, common explanation that the phrase stems from the cold serving of mutton or meat is incorrect, because you can predate it with these other biblical reasons, and he's the author. One source claims that the explanation of the expression is due to a very literal action, as in keeping one's back towards, or in the least a shoulder between. So physical, like you're actually...
I'm making one right now.
You're making
Let's see if this competes. So in older days, and you'd have someone over to your home by the hearth, and as an act of hospitality, you would open up space to make sure that they had access and proximity to the hearth fire, giving them one warm arm, shoulder, if you will, and one cold shoulder. And so to turn one's cold shoulder to somebody was to offer them hospitality.
Sorry, I was not ignoring you.
Did you just give me and I missed that?
I just gave you the cold shoulder.
If you could just start at the beginning.
The text is, my son is in the hospital.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I know we're recording right now. I just checking if he says he's okay. Wanted me to know first. He's in the hospital. He's away. He's out of town with his girlfriend's family. So,
okay.
Sorry if I got distracted there. This just got real. That was a legit cold shoulder, but for a real reason.
I was rambling, like good ramble there.
So if he calls back, I will answer that call.
This is.
We'll keep recording.
Okay.
But
I'm going to record it with my phone.
Okay.
As it goes in. Well, we are heading into the latter end of things. You want me to tell you that, just a little bit of that again?
Yeah, please. I missed 100% of it.
It was so interesting. If I do
Let me see if I got the gist of it. Your body is between person and fire.
Well, you see, in an older time, you just think more Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
And you'd have a guest in, and you'd have the hearth, and there'd be a nice roaring fire.
Got it.
And so you'd bring your guest in, you're going to get one warm shoulder, one cold shoulder.
Got it.
And so the act of giving someone the cold shoulder was to bring them in so they could full front on like that. So I'm giving you, giving you good access to the hospitality of my home.
Oh.
To offer.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, the cold shoulder used to be a good thing. That's
Well,
boom, just came out of my head.
So we should use it more positively.
Sure.
I'm going to give you the cold shoulder. Thanks, man. Well, dug a little deeper, found an earlier figurative use of cold shoulder in a humoristic article in the Chester Chronicle in 1808, which is 8 years prior to the Antiquary, which is what every site almost says is the earliest. And I always find success when I find something that's just a little bit earlier than what everyone thinks.
Okay.
And so this is in that.
This
and
is exciting.
I have a copy of it, like an actual photo of the article. It's real. It says, blah, blah, blah. It's actually interesting. Listen to these words. Don't you wish people talked like this still? Fashions. Since the commencement of the present intolerably hot weather, warmth is all the rage, and yet strange to say, a fine lady is ready to faint at the idea of a fleecy hosiery petticoat. The coldest friends cannot meet without a warm embrace, and even old maids who have numbered 60 winters confess themselves in a melting mood. The restaurateur says he has hot work of it in his ice house, and his glass blower, just released from his furnace, complains of the sultry air out of doors. The public plume themselves upon the ardor of the Spanish cause, and reprobate all that are lukewarm as cold-blooded traitors. The rich miser looks coldly upon his poor friend, and the inhospitable landlord treats his uninvited visitor to a cold shoulder.
I'm telling you. I like my reverse idiom.
Well,
there's something there.
Then you'll like this.
There's more?
Just wait. This one's quick. This one confuses all the people out there because it's 1823, but it's such a weird instance of cold shoulder because it's positive.
Ah, really?
This is it in a nutshell. The Duke and Duchess of Bedford and family left town yesterday morning for Brighton. The Earl and Countess of Darnley and family have arrived at Ramsgate from their seat, Sandgate, Kent. The guests at the Windsor dinner, given the open air in addition to the fare on the table, were each of them treated with a cold shoulder.
Awesome.
But there's no explanation.
Maybe I'm onto something.
We don't know what they're saying here.
Positive.
Yeah. There you go.
Give people the cold shoulder.
That's the end of it. You might be right.
There could be something there. That could be something there. Well, interesting origins that there are several.
Yep.
And so somewhere in there, likely the truth, or you can just go with the one I just made up on the spot.
Right. What about this?
His wife was giving him the cold shoulder.
Recognize that voice?
Sounds like Ron Howard.
It was Ron Howard in Arrested Development. He's the
okay.
narrator. And I had to play it because it's part of a riddling coming up.
Oh, okay. I'm going to remember. Ron Howard. Arrested Development. All right. Well, speaking of riddling, we are actually, you are waiting on a call, and we are heading into the final moments of the podcast here. So let's jump into some riddlings.
All right. Well, Riddling is a game we like to play that it starts with a two-part trivia-based question or questions and requires a two-part but overlapping answer. So, for example, last week, we left you with this one. When you attempt to fire your musket, but a bullet doesn't leave the barrel, sings this song, and then we played a clip of High Hopes by Panic at the Disco, which means...
the Panic at the Disco.
That's exactly right. Did you know that was Panic at the Disco?
Yes.
You were on that.
Yeah.
Good job.
High Hopes.
So that's how it plays. Flash in the Pan and Panic at the Disco. You overlap it by a syllable. That's how you play...
Well, let me give you one.
Riddling.
All right, here we go. Deliberately unfriendly to people now that I'm aged and smarter.
Say it one more time.
Deliberately unfriendly to people now that I'm aged and smarter.
Oh, okay, I got it. Give the cold shoulder and wiser.
That's it.
All right. Well, on that vein, let me give you one.
Okay.
To dismiss someone figuratively and then insult them with a phrase meaning more aged than soil.
Give them the cold shoulder than dirt.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Older than dirt. We haven't done that one. All right. Come on, illegitimate children.
Beat me to the punch.
Take them out on this one.
Give me the cold shoulder.
These river crustaceans are a common British meal.
The common British meal? So, crayfish. Crayfish and chips? Oh, okay. Nice.
Nice. Ding, 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 ding,
I'm
ding.
like, common British meal?
I don't even know if British
a million fish dishes.
I don't even know if British people eat fish and chips.
Well, they call them chips. We don't.
Fish and chips.
We should have... Somebody should just open a fish and fries.
Fish and fries. That doesn't feel good. Okay.
Okay, I got one more, but tell people how they can get a hold of us.
You can reach out to us on Instagram at the.village.idiom or email thevillageidiom@gmail.com, or whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter at 3 Minutes Gone.
All right, well, here's the last one. The actor who played Mr. Freeze in the audio clip we played earlier and the show that Ron Howard clip came from.
Wow. Okay.
Took our two clips. Well, just so you know, just so everyone's not wondering, my son is in the hospital. He was feeling a little dizzy, wasn't answering questions properly, so they took him to the hospital. He's obviously okay because he's replying to me now, but we'll follow up right after this.
So bizarre. We'll have to hear about the ending of this tale next week.
Yep.
Bizarre.
Sounds like he's okay. I'm going to call him back right after this.
Prayers. It's all a good thing. It was fun putting today's podcast together for you. We enjoyed doing it. We hope you enjoyed listening to it. I'm Skinny.
I'm Jurassic Shoulder Pads, Mark.
And these are the Village Idioms.
Thank you for that delay, because I am...
With your cold shoulder, what can I say? Baby, what's colder than your cold shoulder?
The last 3 minutes gone